guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about Trump's decision to go ahead and get rid of the penny. This has been a long time coming. I've talked about inflation many times on my channel, and that's really what's going on here. This is a result of inflation, a continued result of inflation that we've been seeing since really the early 1900s, as that got started with the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank. And this is one of the reasons, Ron Paul talks so much about why the Federal Reserve needs an audit, and for it to be just gotten rid of completely. But so we're at the point now where they're getting rid of a penny. And again, the true reason is because inflation. It costs more money to produce that penny than it's actually valued. The cost of making it, the cost of the metals, all of it. And that's, again, what happens with inflation. So today I want to talk about the penny. I'll show you the articles, but then we're going to go bring it back to homesteading. People back in the day, we've done videos before on this, the Sears Roebuck and catalog and co. I want to show you guys what people used to actually be able to buy with just a penny or a couple pennies. It's pretty interesting. So stick around for that. But first, let's go over the article. Now, you can search for pennies and the news articles over on Google, and there's all kinds of stuff. It says, getting rid of the penny introduces a new problem. Nickels, we'll talk about that also. Trump's order to scrap the penny doesn't make sense. Getting rid of the penny, collectible coin dealer weighs in. Trump has made the penny his currency target, but it's the nickel he should worry about. What the end of the penny means for the economy, your piggy bank, and the way America prices items. So a lot of articles right now coming out in the last couple of days or even hours. This one here came out 39 minutes ago, talking about this idea of getting rid of the penny. Let's go over and read the ABC article. It says, Trump's order to scrap the penny doesn't make sense, says expert. The cost of making a penny has risen to more than twice the coin's face value. Well, that seems to make sense. As part of his plan to cut alleged federal government waste, President Donald Trump is literally pinching pennies, ordering his Treasury Secretary to stop the U.S. Mint from producing 1-cent coins. In an announcement Sunday on his Truth Social platform, Trump said the cost of minting the coin featuring the profile of the country's 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, is more than twice the currency's face value. And that's true. It's been that way for a while, actually. For far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is wasteful, Trump wrote. I have instructed my Secretary of Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. And this is something that makes sense. But why is this happening? Again, we'll talk about inflation in a second. According to the U.S. Mint, the cost of producing a single penny has more than doubled in recent years, from 1.76 cents in 2020 to 3.96 cents in 2024. So it's literally worth over almost 4 cents. Heading that way, 4 cents for a penny. And these pennies today, they're not even real copper. There's a very small portion. It says right here, it's comprised of 97.5% zinc, which is a worthless metal, and 2.5% copper. That's just basically the copper coating that sits on the top. Requires a smelting process to mold those two metals. It cost the Treasury's Bureau of Engraving and Printing 3.2 cents to print a $1 note, less than the cost of minting a penny. So again, it makes sense to get rid of this thing. The U.S. Mint reported losing $85.3 million on making pennies in fiscal year 2024. So that's $85 million flushed down the drain to make a penny. That's worth way more than its face value. So let's go back for a little bit of history lesson and talk about this guy right here. So this is a silver quarter, okay? This was made in 1964. This was the last year actual silver currency. The dime and the quarter were used in the United States. And they got rid of that because inflation. Inflation. They don't want to use real metals, actual precious metals for currency anymore. They want to give you garbage. And now we have these zinc-clad things that have no face value, no real value at all, even though their face value says it's 25 cents. But they don't expect you to understand what you're using is not worth anything. And all throughout history, the story is told over and over again that when countries do this, they eventually face economic collapse, 100% guaranteed all of the time. Over and over again. We have the nickel which is actually, if you don't know, it's 25% nickel and 75% copper. So it costs a lot more money to make these things too. In fact, let's go back to the article. If you continue to scroll down, it has this. Penny is 3.69 cents to make, and a nickel cost in production 13.77 cents per nickel for a it's got a 5-cent face value, but it cost over a dime to make. The reason it's so expensive is because there's actual metals in this. Nickel, a semi-precious metal, and copper, a semi-precious metal, inside of that 5 cent. If you're smart, you're saving these. I've been saving these for years. I don't ever turn in, I get change. I have a little change thing by the door, and whenever I come in, I empty my pockets. But when it comes time to take that to the bank to get money for it, put it in their little machine that sorts it all out, and they give you some money for it. I never take my nickels. My nickels get saved every single time because there's actual real metal in those things. This one here is a penny. This is a pre-1980. It's a 1980 penny, and everything made before 1982 is still of value. It's made of real copper. Okay, that's a real copper penny right there. Okay, but the one we have today that cost almost 4 cents to make isn't even made of real copper. It's like 2% copper and mostly zinc, and it still cost almost 4 cents to make. Can you imagine? If they were making these, they'd probably like 6 or 7 cents. It makes no sense. Why? It's inflation. And this is something that's been happening over time. We've talked about many times on this channel, but I want to go back to the Sears Roebuck catalog and show you, and again, prove to you inflation. So, we didn't have to get this way. If the Federal Reserve wasn't backing it, if we were actually backing our money with real monetary assets like gold and silver, we wouldn't have this problem today. Let me go back and show you what some of these things used to buy. This is a facsimile copy. This is not a true Sears Roebuck. So it's a Sears Roebuck that's a complete copy, an accurate copy of a Sears Roebuck made almost 130 years ago. So 130 years old, but it's a facsimile. Okay, just to make that clear. Every time I mention this, everyone's like, it's really good condition for a Sears Roebuck catalog that's 100 years old. 130 years old facsimile. So back in the day, if you are a keeper of the home, you're probably used to buying yeast. If you out there, homesteaders out there, make your own sourdough, or you make your own bread, you're probably buying yeast, or you might be buying yeast. If you're doing sourdough, you probably aren't, but you may be. 4 pennies for a carton. A carton. It doesn't say how big the box is, but it's a box of yeast for 4 pennies. I don't think you're going to get that today. 4 pennies. Arm & Hammer baking soda. A half a pound of Arm & Hammer baking soda for 4 pennies. 4 pennies in there. I got that. All right, let me take you to the next one and show you this. I got a couple other ones too I want to show you. This is a 25-pound bag of popcorn. 25-pound bag of popcorn with the popcorn still on the ears. It's a paper sack of popcorn for 4 cents. 4 pennies. Hominy. How many guys out there like hominy? How many hominy lovers out there are there? Put a comment below. Is it a pound? 1 pound of hominy. Right there. I got it labeled. I got it highlighted. 1 pound of hominy costs 2 pennies. 2 pennies. A pound of hominy. Oatmeal. A pound of oatmeal costs 3 pennies. A pound of oatmeal costs 3 pennies, and you could buy it in bulk. I think for 200 pounds of oatmeal, it was $4.90 for 200 pounds of oatmeal. Definitely things that you can't get today for that kind of price. Not even close. It's because it's an overall progression of inflation and the creation of the Federal Reserve and how they've destroyed our monetary system. For you guys out there like me who have the pews, 45 long Colt. 45 long Colt. They don't have a lot of modern ammunition in here. Most of this stuff is not modern ammunition. But the 45 long Colt, you can still find this today. Midway USA, I think, sells it. They had a bunch of different options. So 45 long Colt, if you like Hickok 45, this was a 100 round box for $1.57. That's less than 2 pennies per bullet. Less than 2 pennies per round. There's no way you're going to pay probably over $1 a round on most quality 45 long Colt these days. You know it's true. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. And just, we talk about this. This is going to happen over and over again. I think I have it in here. The Zimbabwe $100 trillion. And I've said before on my channel, this is where we're headed, folks. This is where we're going. And the reality is, before you get there, you have to get rid of some things that you already have in place that are no longer of any value before you can get to a point where you have something like this that's not of any value. But we're $37 trillion in debt. We're over $100 trillion in debt when you talk about unfunded things and the grand scheme of things. You're never going to get out of this boat. There's no way you can cut costs that much. Trump cannot save us. It'd be so much pain. The country, I believe, we're headed for civil war anyway, because we don't understand how to deal with sacrifice and how to deal with discomfort. We're addicted to comfort. And if we were going to cut cost as much as we need to cut cost to avoid a future like that, it would be so painful that the country wouldn't be able to take it, because nobody in this country is used to it anymore. And I think that's the reality. But before you get to places like this, you have to get rid of things like this. But we're already halfway there. We've already gotten rid of the monetary silver and the real copper out of our currency. That happened years ago. Okay, this happened in 1964. This happened in 1982, and now we're getting rid of this because that's not even worth it anymore. And this will be up on the chopping block. This nickel will be up on the chopping block next, and these will be up after that. And then paper dollars, $1 bills will be up after that, and we'll eventually get to this. And it's happened many times throughout history, but that's where we're going because we're so far in debt. We don't know how to stop spending. We don't know how to stop printing. And we're going to learn the history lesson that so many of our ancestors who've come before us have learned time and time again. And that is the meaning of worthless. We don't know what the meaning of that word is anymore. But we're going to learn. Guaranteed we're going to learn. What do you think? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Man, I would love to get me some 45 long colt for a penny a piece. That'd be fantastic. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hey, check out our merchandise over at teespring.com. You can find our best-selling shirt, Stupid Should Hurt. If we had more hurt in this world, we'd have an awful, awful lot less stupid. Also, our Farm Fresh Butt Nuggets. When I go to these events that I'll be speaking at this summer, I will be having these shirts, the Farm Fresh Butt Nuggets, and a couple of other shirts for sale along with the Stupid Should Hurt. So be sure to check me out at the events page on AnAmericanHomestead.com, the events page on AnAmericanHomestead.com. Also, we just had an ice storm recently come through and got a little bit of ice. And from what I understand, there's a number of people in my area and in other areas as well that have lost power. Well, even though you lose power, did you know that having a solar generator that you can plug in to your internet, your router, your modem, or your fiber optic line will still give you internet even if you lost power? Just like back in the old days, remember when you had those rotary phones, those you guys like me who grew up in the 70s and 80s, you could still have a dial tone on that phone when you lost power. It's the same with your internet line. That's why it pays to have something like the UPI solar generator that you can plug in to your modem, your router, or your internet fiber line and then power that from your location so that even when the power goes out in your neighborhood, you still have internet. Check out the commercial at the end of the video and sign up for the UPIs, where even the Exodus 1200 is on sale now. The Exodus 1200 is perfect for keeping your internet up. The UPIs Exodus 1200. Check it out at the link over at the banner ad on our website at AmericanHomestead.com, and then leave a comment below for the algorithm. Like and share before you go. I really appreciate that. All right, guys. See you next time with the Homestead. Bye. One of the best perks about living off-grid is that I never pay an electric bill. I love being my own power company, but that means when things go wrong, I have to be the one on call. So I try and use reliable components for my power production. For the last couple of years, I've been promoting UPI solar generators. I've been using them and abusing them, and as it turns out, they are pretty good products. They have power generators for all occasions, and they can be charged by permanent or portable solar panels, as well as AC power. They offer true lithium iron phosphate batteries, and this is important. Recently, a family in my area had a different brand that uses the less stable nickel manganese cobalt or NMC type batteries. The unit caught fire in the middle of the night. It was a scary situation and it caused damage to the home, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The generator, as you can see, was a total loss. This drives home the point on why it's so important to employ solar generators like the Uppies brand that uses the much more safe and stable technology of lithium iron phosphate, otherwise called LiFePO4. They offer small generators for travel or for powering an entire home and everything in between. These are great backups to have in a medical emergency or to power a freezer full of your favorite meat products, or as I have shown in past videos, for even backup AC and DC power sources for ham radio communications. If the grid goes down, you're going to be thankful you have one of these units. You can find the link in the description of this video or click on the banner ad found on the front page of our website at AmericanHomestead.com. Right here, that banner ad right there on AmericanHomestead.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait,